right, guys, it's time to get to Mission Impossible Fallout, or as I'm sure a lot of you like to call it, the movie where Henry Cavill cocks his arm guns. So Mission Impossible Fallout, the 2018 film directed by Christopher McQuarrie, sees our team return, and boy oh boy, this was one that really was a lot of fun to watch. As always, guys, we're going to give you a quick summary of what the film is. Then we're going to jump into like all the spoilery stuff I want to talk about with this film. So if you've never seen Mission Impossible Fallout, you should. Listen to my summary, go check out the film, come back, we would appreciate it. So basically, Tom Cruise and the IMF lose 3 plutonium orbs that they have to retrieve, but because of this, the CIA doesn't trust the IMF and has their own agent tag along with Ethan Hunt and his team in order to retrieve the 3 orbs by any means necessary, essentially. And along the way, Tom Cruise, as Ethan Hunt, has to get his team to retrieve these orbs and save the world from a nuclear disaster. It's pretty cut and dry. It's a very simple retrieving an item type movie, and nothing wrong with that because this film is exhilarating. It is so much fun. So yeah, we open up with Tom Cruise and the team essentially not being able to get these 3 plutonium orbs. This leads to one of the best scenes of the film that I really enjoy. It's the scene where they got the nuclear physicist, I want to say, in a bed in like a hospital room, and they make him think that the 3 nuclear bombs have gone off. They kind of trick him, using their face stuff to make it seem like it's really on the news, but really they're in a room. It was a nice callback to the first film when they did something similar. So I just thought that was so cool, because I remember seeing this for the first time and being like, oh my god, we got nuclear explosions in this already. Holy smokes, we are in for a ride. But I love that twist. I love that little twist that just like, you guys got me. You had me for a second. So I love that part of it. And then, I like Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is one of my favorite actors. I think he's a great Superman, and it was great seeing him in this. And of course, we get the great scene of him and Tom Cruise in that bathroom. It's one of the best scenes of the series. And of course, like I mentioned up top, Henry Cavill doing that arm cock, which in the movie I don't think had any sound effect. It's just Henry Cavill just locking and loading those arms. But I believe in the trailer they actually did have a sound effect to him. Regardless, because I think that was a lot of fun. I think Henry Cavill is great bouncing off Tom Cruise. He's a little more serious, a little more stoic, but there's a lot more going on with Henry Cavill's character than meets the eye. We get more great vehicle chases in this. I absolutely love it. I love that also Tom Cruise has to pretend to be this black market buyer and trick a new character, the White Widow, played by Vanessa Kirby, who I dig a lot in this. I think she's fantastic. I think she's a great addition to this franchise. All the improvising that Ethan Hunt has to do in this, as he always does, in order to get the mission accomplished. Another great part is, exposing Walker. The scene where, after they've gone through a couple of these hurdles with the White Widow, Hunley comes back and is trying to get the IMF team out of the city. That's where they trick and expose Walker for really being that secret buyer, which I think is a great scene because, Benji in all these movies talks about wanting to put on the mask. He gets to put it on at the beginning of the film. He gets to put it on again for this scene. And it was just a great little twist that gets me every time. It's just like, I forgot that they do this, and it's so much fun. And, they get the bad guy on it. But then it leads to, the whole nuclear stuff at that base camp in the mountains where they're going to detonate the last 2 bombs, because they retrieve 1, they have the 2 bombs left to go. But I also like that they brought back the villain from the previous movie, and he is a lot more menacing in this one. Again, that's actor Sean Harris, who plays Solomon Lane, but now he's sporting a beard, and he's a prisoner being transported around from country to country to pay for his crimes. Somebody's trying to break him out. So yeah, Henry Cavill's a part of that group, the Apostles, who followed Sean Harris's character, and they kind of broke off after the previous film. So now you got these Apostles who are trying to still carry out his character's motivations from the previous film. And so it was interesting to have him come back. He's got a lot. I think he's just a lot more interesting in this film. Like I said, more menacing. He had some great stuff to do in this one. I just, he became a better bad guy in this film than he was in the previous film, in my opinion. Because that whole scene in the Himalayas, or wherever they're at in the mountains, what they say was like the mountains between like Pakistan and China, I want to say, like nestled up in there. I forget the name of the country. It just so happens that Henry Cavill's character also lures Ethan Hunt's ex-wife to that same camp where she's trying to take care of people with the smallpox outbreak that they talk about at the beginning of the film. So she's there, and she kind of sees that Ethan Hunt and his team are there to detonate these bombs, and it's just the tension is ramped up because he's got her there. He's got 2 nuclear bombs there, and he's got to track down Henry Cavill's character in a helicopter chase, which I think is actually a really cool scene. And I think he also does another great stunt there where he falls down onto like the payload below the helicopter. I believe that was a scene where people actually thought he was going to die because he like just falls down that rope and hits the payload thing there, and he really did that. So it's just, Tom Cruise is a maniac. But I love that scene. I love his little fight with Henry Cavill there at the end. Henry Cavill looking like Two-Face from Batman. But it was a great little fight, going mano-a-mano. I don't know how Henry Cavill doesn't win that fight. Probably because it's titled Mission Impossible and it's Ethan Hunt's movie. But I digress. It's so a nice little fight there at the end. They detonate the bombs again just in time, which is one of those tropes that I always hate, is that they do it in just the nick of time, to save the day. I wish, it's like, why couldn't we have done it with like 30 seconds left? Like, bam, we figured it out. But it's always that last second that they get it done. But whatever, that's just a little nitpick. And look, this movie is great. I have a lot of fun with this film. I definitely think it gets slower in some spots. Definitely not as high for me as Rogue Nation, but like I said, I believe 4, 5, and 6 are all pretty close together in terms of where I would rank them, and they could even flip-flop on certain days. But at the end of the day, I'm giving Mission Impossible Fallout an A-. It's another great effort. I just think, there's some little things I always have a problem with these movies, which is just essentially like some of the pacing, maybe some of the story stuff isn't all there, but I still enjoy it, and I still have a good time with this, and still think they're great films. Despite it being an A-, I think it's still a great film. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think this is one of the best Mission Impossible films? Where does it rank amongst your favorites? Let me know down in the comments below. If you could also please hit that like button, the subscribe button, the little bell notification to be notified whenever I drop new videos. It would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, I was having so much fun with this franchise. And after this film came out, I was wondering what they would do next. And boy, oh boy, I'm excited that the next one we're getting to is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Very excited to get to that one, seeing it in IMAX. So yeah, hopefully it's good. And until then, guys, I'll be seeing you.